storehouse. That used to
That's
belong to the
right.
two storehouse.
So we lived there until, someone decided to buy it.
Well, you lived there until you got married, and then
Yeah.
when Vava passed away, Vava sold it. That's that. Okay. So we have Vava's maiden name is Castro.
My grandmother's name,
Is it on the pictures? Oh, you have it all there.
her name was Castro, yes. But she married a man named Castro, too. They were second cousins.
So when you say second cousins, their grandfathers were brothers? Maybe?
Well, I don't know how you define second cousins.
I'm not sure either.
It's not first cousins, so I just figured it's the next generation down, they're second cousins.
So they were cousins. So her maiden name was Castro.
Yeah.
So we really, even to ask you what Vava Denise's mother's name was, what was the first name?
Her name is Amelia Maxima. That's Emily Maxine Castro.
So her mother's maiden name, were you saying, we don't know what her mother's maiden name, because her father's name was Castro, but Emily's, my great-great-grandmother's mother's maiden name, you don't know. It's probably, at this point somewhere.
It's somewhere.
Okay, well we can find that out. I was just curious.
We have their names here too.
But
I'm not sure now. But my grandfather's name was John Machado Castro. That's my mother's dad.
Your mother's dad? Yeah. Do you know if they were related to any of the Machados here in Tulare?
Oh, I don't know.
Isn't that interesting? Cause
Mom always said she had some relatives in Tulare and they were Castros, but I never did know them.
Oh, really?
She always said they were related to them.
Huh.
So I have no idea.
Let's see. Did you know you knew Vava Denise's mother? Your great-grandmother. Your grandmother.
I knew my grandmother, yes.
And even on Vava Denise's side, because you stayed with them.
I met her when we went to the Azores, yes. We lived with her for 9 months.
Wow. And you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Did you speak English?
I spoke Portuguese. I don't know if I spoke English at the time or not.
Because they apparently didn't speak English.
No, but I mean, we all spoke Portuguese fluently because we were there 9 months. And
was Eugene with you at the time? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did Eugene speak English, Portuguese too?
Oh yeah, he spoke whatever we did. It was just one of those things.
Huh.
It was different.
What?
It was different.
So let's see. We're kind of jumping around. So we have the grandparents. We realized that they were second cousins.
Well, and then I can tell you about our family. My mother's sisters and brothers. We have.
Okay. You have a lot.
Well, my mother had 3 sisters and 4 brothers.
And of those
she
4
was
brothers,
the oldest of the sisters.
Of those 4 brothers, there's a set of twins.
Yeah, her younger brothers are twins.
Mm-hmm. And do you know if they were twins before that? Did they say when those twins were born, sometimes that skips a generation? Was there any history?
I don't recall them saying anything about that. But they're twins, but they look nothing alike.
They're non-identical. I forget what the term is.
They're fraternal.
Fraternal. Okay, that's what the term is.
Then, that's what she had, was 3 sisters and the 4 brothers.
And then Vava Denise had one?
No, my dad had 2 brothers, and he had a sister. And she died when she was 18. We didn't know her.
But did they say what she died from?
No, she died at home. I have no idea what she had.
So you didn't know her. Did Vava Denise know her?
No, because when we went over there, she already had died.
Uh-huh.
But one of Dad's brothers came over to this country and stayed here and died in this country. And he had a wife, and then he had a son. Well, he had 2 sons. His first son died at birth, and then he had a son that's still living now, which is my age.
And they live in?
That's my cousin Frank that lives in down Monterey.
Okay. Grove. Yeah. Okay. I know that one.
Yeah.
So.
And then his other brothers, the other younger brother, did come to this country.
Uh-huh.
Just like visit and stuff, and then he went back.
And that's the brother that you stayed with.
Well, actually, no.
You stayed with your.
I stayed with my grandmother. We stayed with my grandmother because she had a home, and my uncle was married at the time. Was married with his family. He had his own home. Uh-huh. They were just kind of close, just a couple little.
Do you remember that house?
Yeah, I remember both houses distinctively.
Really? Wow. And what island was that?
That was
What?
That was Hameen.
Hameen. Is that home still there?
Oh yeah.
So when you guys went back, after you guys were married, you guys went back to the Azores.
My grandma's home was there,
Oh my
but
gosh.
they used it like for storage. They didn't use it as a
Oh my
home.
gosh.
And my uncle's house, when they
When you
had,
say they, wait a second. When you say they, it's obviously a new family, not a Denise family that are living in it.
yeah, my uncle lives there, lived there
Oh.
still. But
Did
he
you see him when
died.
you went?
No, he
No.
had died already.
Oh.
But he had a son that was living there. But he's lived in his parents' home. But when the earthquake, they had earthquake. Well, their home was torn down, so they had to rebuild their home. But my grandma's home stayed intact.
Oh my
But it was
gosh.
kind of tiny, and they just used it for storage.
That's too bad. Would you have wanted to go inside just to look
I
at
kind
it?
of wanted to go inside, but it was. She said it was all full of stuff, and it was kind of hard to get in. So I said, well, let's just not do it. But I remember it.
Interesting.
Now I remembered my uncle's home too. They had upstairs. They had a bedroom upstairs.
And running water and electricity was
No,
it?
they didn't
Oh
have
no.
no, neither one of them had it at the time.
Oh my
She
gosh.
caught water outside from the rain, and it was like in a little well. She walked down some steps with this little container, and then she'd have to
So
scoop
how?
up the water, and
So when you
where you go.
so when you guys bathed and drank water, what did you do to the water? You drank it as it was?
Well, yeah, that's rainwater. I'm sure it was clean water.
Oh, okay.
you know,
It was didn't drip off of the something and land in the pot. No.
Well, they probably had something catching it, like they make they make something to catch the water,
Yeah.
and just the water just kind of run down little.
So when you took baths,
I can remember taking a bath to see.
you can't. You can't.
That's one thing We must have taken
You must
baths.
have heated the pot
I
on the
would
stove
think
or
so.
something, huh? And when you went to the bathroom, how did you go to the bathroom?
Oh my gosh, I don't remember.
You had
I
to
don't
go
remember.
outside, or was it? Or was
Yes,
it,
it was
in a
outside.
container?
It was outside.
Gosh, you were how old? 9?
Me, I was 7.
7. Dad was 9 when he went back for his trip.
Yeah,
Right.
I was 7.
Well, you don't- but
we
you-
were there for 9 months
Wow. And you told me you took the last boat.
to come to the United States because war had broke out in Europe, and had just broke out in Europe, and this was going to be the last boat. If we didn't come in this
That
ship,
was
we'd be there.
that was 39 because you said you were 7 years
Well, we
old.
went in 39,
Oh, 39.
but I don't know.
Oh, 9 months. It could have been.
Yeah, I
into
could have
the
caught 40. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what month we did go.
Wow.
We were there. We were going to stay for a year.
And you remember your train and your boat rides both?
We didn't go no train.
So you caught the boat?
We took a car from here to back east.
Are you kidding me? Bavou Denise drove all the way
Yes.
back. How long did that take?
It took about a week, probably.
Oh my gosh.
And we'd stop at night and stay someplace to sleep. They had motel like here and there.
Do you remember that?
Not too
Not too
vaguely.
Man.
And we came back on the same way. We came back on the
So
car.
you left your car at.
We left the car back east at Dad's relatives he had back in back east,
Oh yeah.
in the East Coast. The car stayed there. Then we came back. We picked up the car, but then on the way home, Dad had a trailer with clothes and stuff or things he brought back.
Oh really?
That little trailer.
From the Azores?
The things he had brought from the Azores
Uh-huh.
and stuff people had gave him, and he had stuff in
Wow.
trunks. You know
Uh-huh.
how that goes. People years ago would give you something. I'll give this to so and such. It's my relative and something for me. But when we were coming through, I say Chicago. I might be wrong, but there was no lights or anything, and there was just a cop telling us how to go. When he told Dad to go, that he had a chance to go, he didn't realize Dad had a trailer. Well, when the other car came on, hit the trailer.
Oh, and you lost everything on the train.
And it was so funny because all the clothes we had, everything was hanging on trees.
You remember that?
And
Oh
we
my
stayed there for
gosh.
2 weeks, and we lived in to me it was like an apartment or a boarding house or
2
something.
weeks.
And while the car was being repaired and all.
None of you guys were hurt,
No.
but you remember that.
Yeah.
Most definitely, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
then where
gosh.
we stayed, we'd kind of sneak in. I remember pork and beans. They'd always sneak in with these pork and beans and heat them up because you're not supposed to cook in there.
Oh my gosh. And that was where, do you think it was Chicago?
I think it was Chicago. Mom might have it in her notes. I'll have to check it out.
Interesting.
But on the way back, we brought, beside the 5 of us, we brought 2 women and another man. So that was 3 more. That was
8
of us
people
in
on a
this
car?
So I can't imagine how crowded we were. I
And
was
these
small.
other people, these 2 women and a man, they were...
They were just friends. None of them were. I think the man was related.
So, but you hooked up with them in the Azores and traveled all the way back with them, or this was?
They came on the boat.
Uh-huh.
The women came on the boat, and I think the fellow was from back east. And then eventually he went back east.
Where did you leave them off at?
The women?
How far did they go with you
Well,
to California?
one woman, I think she stayed in L.A. because she married in L.A. She was married to a man.
An
and
American?
She brought him over. She stayed in L.A. and worked, and then she brought her husband over. And then the other gal, well, she already had a marriage here, but it didn't work out. Then she married somebody else, and she went back to L.A. and lived.
You remember that?
Yes.
At age of 7?
Well, because I heard him talk.
Oh my gosh.
And Dad knows who the lady was too that married the fellow here from Tipton.
Oh my gosh.
So I won't mention names right now. But
okay. Well, isn't that
interesting? She married a fellow from
interesting?
Tipton. He already had a gal, and they were already at the wedding. I guess they were kind of
Seeing each
not
other?
too
Oh.
thrilled with each other. But then,
Isn't that, here, he's from, these people are from a back east area than how you guys wound up in Tipton anyway,
well,
kind of thing.
because they were from the same village, and
So you
I don't know
knew.
if they asked, or Dad asked them to come with us, or maybe they didn't speak
But you didn't
English.
even know Dad. You were 7 years old at the time you picked up these strangers.
No, but Dad would have known them.
Yeah, Dad would have, but not your family.
Yeah, my mother and Dad would have known them.
Oh, your dad. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm thinking of my dad,
No,
Frank,
no,
sitting
no.
next to you. I'm sorry.
My dad drove, and he
Yes.
drove all these.
Is he the only one that drove?
I don't know. I don't think Mom did. I don't recall Mom. Maybe the other guy drove too. I don't
Unbelievable.
know.
Do you remember your boat ride?
Oh, very vaguely.
Very vaguely.
I remember, like Dad says, Frank, my husband,
Uh-huh.
my dad, says that there was
With
classes,
classes.
and we had to stay in one class. We wouldn't dare go up the stairs to the other class because that was off limits.
Oh yeah, and there were people standing guard there, kind of like, so that you
No,
wouldn't
it just
know.
I guess you just took it for
And
granted.
known.
And you just no, and it's just a rule. I guess you just don't think of.
Do you remember the
discrimination.
food? No.
No, the only thing I remember is not really.
No.
Maybe just in the afternoons, like drinking tea or something with some real dry toast or something. That's the only thing I can remember. But eating, I have no idea.
Isn't
what we
that
had.
something? I think
But it
that's,
took us a week too
wow.
to get to.
Do you
go
remember
over and come
seasickness or
back. I never got sick, as
nothing?
far as I can remember.
Isn't that interesting?
And we did the same thing when we got over there after a week, when we got to Portugal. We also got a little teeny boat because Dad couldn't hardly wait to get to see his relatives. We got this little teeny boat at night,
Oh my
real
gosh.
tiny. Oh my goodness, it was up and down, and
Oh my gosh.
it was
You
all-
couldn't
when
wait
we
for
wanted
the
to go to the
daytime.
bathroom. It was just like a little curtain, and it was just about that high off the floor, and everybody's kind of,
Oh my gosh. Isn't that something?
well, Dad was anxious to get to see his
Yeah.
mother.
Yeah, well, he was driving for days and days and days on the boat for a week,
Yeah.
and then why wait for the next day? Oh, dear. So we've covered, let's see, because I wanted at this first stage of this recording thing was just to kind of talk about, your grandparents and great-grandparents and at least give names and dates. But, as we know, we have these dates and names written down, so we want to keep that as well as what you folks have said. Let's see, do we want to add anything right now? Shall we pause, gather our thoughts? I hear, the camera does pick up those signs, Dad, so Dad is giving a timeout. So at this point, we're going to do a pause. Okay, here we are, following Sunday, from last Sunday's first episode of the Junio, what is it? Junio history. Shall we say Junio history?
And before I get started, too, I would like to say something. Our interrogator is our daughter, Cecilia. And interrogator here, and she just doesn't leave us alone. So we'll do our best to answer these questions.
Oh, Mom, that was good. That was good. Dad, look at the camera. You gaze off into the sunset, so to speak. Okay, I kind of want future generations to hear what you guys did as kids. What you did nowadays. We have the internet. We have getting in our car and going places, or our parents dropping us off, or our parents taking us to other people's houses. Well, what, for instance, Dad, did you do for entertainment? Was it strictly around the house? I know T. May and T. Mary and T. Mabel maybe even used to say that you and T. Tony used to take dish towels and snap them at the girls. Remember, T. May used to hate you guys doing that.
Is that true, Frank? Is that what you did?
So tell me, what did you guys like? Play cards? just milk cows and come in the house and sleep, or did you help cook or smoke cigars in the back room with Papa? What did you guys do for fun?
When we got through in the evening
Through milking?
and eating, we were too tired to play games. We went to bed.
So you pretty much got up early in the morning. I'm sure Vava, Junio, and all the sisters had breakfast ready for you guys. And then
That's
you guys went to the dairy? Or it was more than just dairy. It was like the hay. It was, what else? We didn't have cotton then.
No,
No. So it was,
we had a cow to milk and cut hay, rake hay, shock hay, load it on a wagon and with the horses pulling it, bring it into the yard and use the derrick, make a haystack out of it.
and this was the days when you had to milk cows by hand, no machinery used.
No, I remember milking cows by hand, but very short time.
Oh, really? So machinery was in
My
you?
dad was probably one of the first guys to put in milking machines.
Ah, how did he hear about the milking machines?
Well, evidently the salesmen were out pushing it.
Oh. And
And Harry Crow was the one that sold the milking machine.
Harry Crow?
Harry Crow.
Is he like a
In
old-
Tulare.
Oh yeah, Crow. Was that Crow?
He was a hardware store.
Mm-mm. I'm just curious. So you just milk cows and did the farm
You
work?
guys went out on Saturday nights or something to a movie or a dance. You talked about that.
Yeah, sometimes the family, on Saturdays, we'd go to
Together.
movies.
Oh, room of movies in Tulare? Was it in Tulare? Which went to the
Yeah,
movies?
almost in Porterville, I think, yeah.
So it was like the theater we know today. You know, like how you go in and sit down, like it wasn't like under a tent or
No, I
on the
think it
back
was
of a house or something that
I
they.
believe it was a theater, wasn't
Really?
it?
It was a theater.
Yeah.
So this
They
was
also,
like
they also had a nice one in Tulare.
this
That
was
was
like
a beautiful theater in Tulare.
I know they should have done something to kept that thing
And,
up, not
it
tear it
was
down.
just fantastic theater when they opened it up.
So let's say you're born 1919, so maybe when you were 10 and older, or we're talking like in your teenage years that you went to the show with the family, or do you remember?
Of course, when I went to school, we walked to school. And we used to walk home with the rest of the kids, and some of our neighbors that lived a mile away from us would walk with us, and they were good friends with us.
And they were Portuguese, apparently.
They were Spanish kids.
Oh, Spanish. So you were.
And they also had a dairy, a little small dairy,
Yeah.
that milked cows too.
You don't remember the name, or do you remember the
And
name?
well, they were Fernandez. And but we couldn't walk with the rest of the white boys because we were black Portuguese, so we had to stay back, and they'd throw clods at us.
So who called you?
Dirt clods.
Who called you Black Portuguese?
Well, the white boys,
Oh, really?
yeah.
So you stood. So that was a discrimination, really.
And I can remember when
First days
I
of-
started school, Mrs. Traver was a teacher that used to pick us up and take us to school
In a car?
in a car.
Really?
Yeah. And,
All of you
me and
junior
Mary.
kids? All of you.
And
Making me nervous.
I know, Dad.
and,
But separate your hands. Separate your hands. Can you talk with your hands separated?
and
That's a junior trait. We talk with our hands. We can't keep our hands still. But
when I started school, there was just one room, one teacher.
and all the students were in one room.
All the students, it was in one room. And afterwards, I can't remember what year they made another room for the first 4 grades.
So can you imagine going to school with all
And
of
the
you?
teacher that came over there for the first grade that I remember was Mrs. Porter.
And that was in Porterville, Tipton,
That's in Edendale.
and that was what
And
we
that's
know
the only
today.
school I attended to in grammar school was Edendale.
So if
Was
we
that
had to
a-
say what city that was in, that was the city's name.
No, that
No.
was out in the country. There was no city out
Somewhere in Tipton, Pixley,
there. Well, it
Cotton
was,
Center, Woodville,
it
Staff-
was,
who knows?
well, it was about 5 miles
So
southeast of Tipton, and about the same distance from Pixley, only it was northeast.
so you walked how many miles to school?
Well, we lived about 1.25 miles from school.
Do you remember fog in those days? Maybe not.
I can't really
Can't
remember
remember.
fog, but
Yeah.
we used to have cold days also.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the temperature didn't change. I'm
Uh-huh.
just wondering if the smog had anything to do with the fog, with the trapped air and all that. But if you can't recall, you couldn't see the beach from your house, could you?
Of course,
That's a real clear day. No, just kidding. No beach.
I only went to school 7 years, grammar school, because I was
Well-
the only
7 years.
I was the only student in the 7th grade, and I could do the 8th grade work. So the teacher just said, "Well, you go to 8th grade," and so I graduated my sister, older sister.
Oh, really? And then you went to high school a little bit, didn't you? You started.
Off and on, when Dad didn't want me, I stayed at home to work for 2 years, and then I quit.
And Tony, did he go the whole 4 years?
He never went at all.
Oh,
Well,
but the girls did.
Dad went to Delano High School.
Or and I went to Delano High
Because
School.
you didn't go. Was there Tulare Union at the time?
Yes, there was.
So how come you didn't go to Tulare Union?
Because the bus was only a quarter of a mile from me to Delano,
Ah.
and it was 3/4 of a mile
Oh.
to go to the other school.
Wow.
But Edendale belonged to Delano's district.
Oh yeah. Did your 3 sisters go to high school?
May went to Tulare High.
Uh huh.
No, I'll take it back.
She went to Delano too.
She went to Delano.
Uh,
Mabel is the one that went to Tulare High.
and how come she went to Tulare High?
Uh,
The bus went further out, and so she was able to ride the bus.
They probably changed the districts at that time.
they probably changed because they burnt the school down.
What school?
Because Mabel didn't graduate from Edendale because they burned it down. So her last year,
Kids did?
well, somebody burned it down,
Oh, uh huh.
or it caught fire and burned
Uh
down.
huh.
So she went to Pixley School
Wow.
for 8th grade, and Pixley belonged to Tulare then.
Wow. And did anybody go to college in your family?
Uh,
Did May or Mabel go to college? Or did they talk about it? Did your parents say, I know one of the reasons why maybe they left these, or some families did, is so that people could have maybe better education or, chance to...
I don't remember either one of them going to college.
Did they say they wanted to go to college, or was their total ambition was, I want to get married and have 4 kids? That's all I want to do. Sit at home and make massa's father and that blood sausage stuff. What do you say? How do you call it? How do you pronounce it, Mom?
Marcella.
Wow!
Very good.
Okay.
I miss that.
So none of your sisters. What do you remember your sisters talking about getting married and having kids, or it was just something?
No, I don't.
And Tony
We
got
probably
married.
didn't talk about those things at home, Sissy, at the time. It was
Oh,
kind of, that might have
yeah,
been a little forbidden
yeah.
at home.
Well, I'm not talking about how the kids
No,
got
but
there.
I
I'm
mean,
just
maybe
talking
just
about
things that we didn't, I don't know.
it was just expected. Did you get married before Tony? No, Tony got married before you.
No, but when one of us was a little crabby, my dad was saying, "Hombre, don't want me storm. Just feeling good."
I know when I remember Vava used to say "Kesh Mamenga" and she'd shake her fist at you. I remember that. And Vava used to say, what was the thing about the money? Kesh, no, not Kesh. For quarter 10 cents. Now, what did he say?
3 for quarter 10 cents.
Something like that. I remember one time he had something was wrong with his dentures. I don't know if they were, maybe the dentist was working on them or what, but he kept teasing me that I'm going to chew his food, and when I'm through chewing it, I give it to him, and he'll swallow it. And I remember staying with him in prison saying that. Anyway, so did you, okay, so we went to 2 years off and on to high school, then you stayed, so that was like the ages of 15, 16. So for the next 17 years, you were at home with your parents, working. Because you got married at 33.
That's right.
So for 17 years after school, you were home working. Night and day, day and night. And then the weekends you'd go...
Well, in 1940, my dad bought a car for us.
For
me and my
us?
brother.
Oh, yeah?
A Ford convertible.
Oh, yeah? You're some hot stuff then, huh? You went
And,
downtown cruising?
What?
You went downtown cruising?
Yeah, we went to town once
You went
in
to
a while.
Tulare? There was not...
Mostly Porterville. And
Oh.
there was a dance hall in Pixley, which is still standing up. It used to belong to Source. And we'd go there on, I think it was Saturday nights. And sometimes we'd go east of Porterville. There was a dance thing there, and I don't know what they call it.
Now, you're talking. What year that would have been?
In the 40s.
In the 40s. That's what you said. Was there any kind of like Black Portuguese discrimination again, or these establishments were strictly Portuguese people, and there were no? What,
No, they weren't.
all combination, all everybody, anybody.